Right guys, I'm going to show you a very simple video on the fixings and fasteners. We'd normally do this in metal, but because of the situation we're in, I'm having to use a bit of plastic. I've got two pieces of plastic, measured a line 10mm all the way down, and drilled some holes relevant to the size of the fixings. I did that on two pieces of pieces of plastic, so they should overlap exactly like that. Before we drill the holes though, what we should do, we should use a set of vernier caliper gauges, and we should measure the diameter of each piece. So this is a 6mm thread. This is a 5mm thread. The nut and bolt I'm using is a 6mm thread, and the pot rivet I'm using is 3mm. Right, once we've got these holes drilled and we've marked them out and scribed them and drilled the holes, we can then overlap the holes like this, so they should all line up. First thing I put in is a nut and bolt. If I put the nut in first, flip it over, I can then use the bolt on the back, and that will secure it all in place, so nothing's going to move, all the holes are lined up. The next one I'm going to use is the pot rivet. The pot rivet is that. Basically it looks like a little sword. The little ball on the end actually pulls back and squashes it down. You'll see this as I use it. To do this, you have to use something called a rivet gun. You slide it in the end, and then we're going to slide that into the hole. And what we'll do, you can see the hole at the back, it's nice flat. As I squeeze it, can you see the ball? See it squeezing? And what should hopefully happen, you'll hear a click in a minute. And that's the actual piece of metal which drops out at the end. That bit's called the mandrel, and then it leaves that in. So we've got a nice secure piece there. The next one I'm going to put in, we're going to do some tapping and dyeing. So before we can do the tap and dye, we know what size that is. We need to use something called a thread gauge. So I know this is a metric bolt, and it's quite a coarse thread, you can tell. And what we have to do, we have to get the gauges, if I don't drop it, and we slide it in between, and we're trying to find one that fits perfect. So that one there, if I put that there, there's still gaps in between, if you see. If I put this one on, that sits absolutely perfect. That is a 1.25 thread. That's called a pitch gauge, and that measures the distance between the top of each thread. So that's 1.25 of a millimetre. So we know what size it is. We'll just double check that again, just to make sure. Brilliant. So that is 7mm on the outside, so it's 6mm on the inside of the thread. What I have to do now is remove that. I'm going to check that sits right. That's the wrong thread. That one. It's that one. and that sits in there perfect as well. Always check. These have got a little taper at the front to help it actually settle in. If you're doing it on metal, you have to be really careful because these are really fragile and they snap very easily. So the next thing I'm going to do, use a little arbor. We put that in there, and all we do, we put it into the little slot on the angle, and then we should be able to tighten that up, and then it holds in. So to do this, what we do, we push it on, and what we're going to be doing, and all we're doing is cutting a thread out, and we'll keep tapping it and tapping it, and you'll see it slowly work through, and it'll cut in the thread. See the bits of plastic on the thread, what's coming through? Actually cuts a thread into the plastic. It does exactly the same in metal. And then when I undo this, run it up and down a few times. Normally if you was doing it on metal, you would use something called a cutting lube to make sure it doesn't jam. And then take it out. This is a very, very easier on here, and you'll see it's got threads inside now. Now this should be able to then get this, and this should now screw in all the way through. And that's tight. Right guys, now what we're going to do, we're going to put the self-tapping hex head bolt in. You can, whether this is a bolt head, a nut head, or bolt head, or a hex head, or an Allen key, or whichever one you want. It could be a self-tapper even. All we do, we get it to start. We can still put all the same different ones in. So what we do, we get it on there, and we can screw that, and you'll see that will start self-tapping all the way through. And that'll secure it safe as well. That is now your fitting task complete. Like I said, what you have to do, you normally do it on a piece of metal. You'd normally put a nut and bolt, as I have, self-tapping exercise, a rivet, a blind rivet I know them as. You would do a peel rivet, and you'd also do a self-tapping, not self-tapping, tap and die exercise, sorry. Other than that, that is your fixings and fasteners one complete. Don't forget, you have to measure 10mm in on each edge and drill the holes at the exactly same size.